Hi everybody, we're back today with our next video lessons. These will actually be the last two videos as this is the last week of new material before the end of the school year. So for today we are looking at continuing on from our square roots or our radicals that we worked on last week. So for today we're looking at multiplying square roots or multiplying radicals. So as long as they are both a radical, now adding and subtracting they had to be the same, but multiplying, they don't have to be like terms. So if you look here at the example, they have on here like radical 5 times radical 3. We can multiply them and get radical 15. Radical 2 times radical 6. We would have done that as radical 12. They kind of teach it a little differently. And then we would have done a factor tree to try to simplify, which would have been 2 and 6 and 2 and 3. And then I'm like, look, a pair of 2's can come out and leftovers stay in. 2 radical 3, which is what they have. Okay, so what we're working on today is multiplying. This is a nice continuer day, or yesterday, last week, sorry about that. So what we want to do is go ahead and multiply the radicals first, and then we'll do our factor trees to try to simplify. Okay, so first one, we have radical 6 times radical 15. They're both radicals, so we can multiply those together, and we would get radical 90. And then we always want to try to simplify. So if I do a factor tree, do you find any pairs? So I know that is 2 and 45. That is 5 and 9. And 3 and 3. So I have a pair of 3's that come out, and then I have a leftover 2 and 5, which go back in as 10. And we are done. Okay, so with the radicals, pretty simple. Just multiply the radicals together and then do your factor tree to try to simplify. Okay, so let's take a look at number 2. So in number 2, you have an outside number of 2. He's going to stay outside. And then we are going to multiply 10 times 32 and get 320. Okay, so from here, we will try to do a factor tree on our 320. So that is 2 and 160, and 2 and 80, 2 and 40, 2 and 20, 2 and 10, 2 and 5. Whew, a lot of 2's. All right, so let's see what happens here. So we get a pair of 2's that come out. There's another pair of 2's that come out. Another pair of 2's that come out. I have a leftover 5. And don't forget the 2 that was already there. He's still outside. So 2 times 2 is 4. Times 2 is 8. Times 2 is 16. And I have a radical 5. And there we go. All right, so multiply them together first. Do your factor tree, pull out those pairs. All right, so number 3. Number 3, notice, is written with parentheses. That's okay. The other problems had a dot. It just means multiplication. So for number 3, we're going to multiply the outside numbers. Negative 2 times 5 is negative 10. And then you multiply the radicals. So we have 6 times 18, which is 108. Okay, so there's step 1. Just multiply outside numbers, multiply the inside numbers. Now we will try to simplify that radical. So if I do a factor tree on 108, I know that is 2 and 54. That is 2 and 27. That is 3 and 9. And that is 3 and 3. Okay, looking for our pairs, I have a pair of 2's. I have a pair of 3's, I have a leftover 3, and I have this 10 from the very beginning, negative 10. So negative 10 times 2 is negative 20, times 3 is negative 60, and radical 3. And we are done. All right, just a few more just to make sure we're good. I threw some fractions in there just to freak some of you out a little bit. But here we go. So let's go ahead and multiply. So outside numbers, 9 times 6 is 54. And then inside we have 14 times 21, which is 294. So again, multiply inside, multiply outside, and then we will go ahead and try to break down the 294. So I know that is 2 and 147. And then 147 is going to be 7 and 21. And that is 3 times 7. Again, you can break it down differently than I did, which is totally fine. You end up at the same places, same circled number, so it doesn't matter. All right, looking for pairs. I see a pair of 7s that can come out. I have a leftover 2 and a leftover 3. Leftovers go inside as 6. That 54 comes down and it's multiplied. And 54 times 7 is 378 radical 6. Multiply outside, multiply inside, factor tree on the inside, and just clean it up. All right, number 5. So the only outside number I have is the half. And then we multiply inside, so we'll do 72 times 12, which is 864. Factor tree, I know that is 2 and 432. Okay, and then we'll do the 432, which is going to be 2 and 216. Oh, I totally missed my 2. Oops. All right, and then that would be 2 and 108, which is 2 and 54, 2 and 27, 3 and 9, 3 and 3. That is a lot of numbers. So nice and slow and controlled here, guys. I have a pair of 2s. There's another pair of 2s. And I see a pair of 3s. I see leftover 2 and 3, which is 6. And the half that's out in front. So half times 2 is 1, times 2 is 2, times 3 is 6, and I have a radical 6. Again, if the basic math, grab a calculator. You can always type all those in. All right, and last problem. All right, so outside numbers is just 2/5. And then the inside radical numbers, we have 30 times 15, which is 450. So multiply outside, multiply inside, and then we'll do a factor tree. So 450, I know, is 2 and 225. And then 225, let's see if we can divide that by 5, which is 45. 45 is 5 and 9. And then that is 3 and 3. So looking for pairs, I got a pair of 5s, a pair of 3s, leftover 2, and then don't forget this number, the 2/5 that was out in front. So 2/5 times 5 is 2, times 3 is 6, and a radical 2. Again, if the multiplication of those fractions bothers you, grab a calculator and we can type those in. All right, that is it for multiplying. Multiply outside, multiply inside, do your factor tree to simplify. All right, get some practice the homework, and then take the quizzes. You need at least a 75%. You can take it as many times as you need. All right, and as always, guys, if you have questions, please just let me know.